Hi skaters, Kev here, and today we're going to talk a little bit about skate maintenance, adjusting your skates, keeping them in good working order. And that requires having all the tools to do so. You need all the tools that are required to keep your skates tight, the nuts for the trucks and the nuts that keep the plates to the boots, Allen wrench for this particular plate here to keep that tight so your toe plug stays tight. So I already had my wheels off of this skate because I wanted to make sure these were tight. These nuts that hold the plates to the boots were tight because Jazz recently lost one of the nuts, which is not a big deal because as you can see, we have a lot of accessories, extra stuff. So I got the wheels off. I got a little ratchet here with a 3/8 inch socket, which fits that. You want to make sure these are tight. Those are nice and tight there. I've had these skates for a few months and they're now nice and broken in. So I want to make sure, I want to go over these and make sure they were nice and tight. While you've got the wheels off, you can see these little bushings down here. Keep an eye on those. Make sure they don't crack and get dry rotted or get dry rotted and then crack because this truck will get wobbly inside that hole and it'll destroy your plate. So keep an eye on those. Okay, you want to make sure these are nice and even. And in this case, I have a pinch bolt here that keeps the plug tight. Make sure you have an Allen wrench, a good long one like this, so that you have good leverage on it. If you have a real short one, it makes it really difficult to get good leverage. So get a good long Allen wrench that fits that so you can keep that tight. Okay, so these are pretty new. These skates are just a few months old. I haven't really had them outside or anything, so they're not really that dirty. But so if you need to change the bearings or anything like that, I don't really need to change the bearings in these because they're pretty new. So, but I wanted to explain a little bit about when you put your wheels back on, how to know like how tight or loose to make them so they spin. You don't want to really make them really super tight because they won't spin. But like if you're changing bearings, like I recommend getting a little bearing puller like this. It makes things so much easier. Yeah. You push a button down and it allows the puller to go down below the bearing and grab it and you can just pull it right out. Ooh. Makes it really nice and easy. You can pop these bearings in and out with a flat screwdriver, a real small one, or something that sticks down in there, which I used to do. You can get it done, it just takes a long time to do it. So it's nice to get one of these bearing pullers. It's made by Bones. This is a nice tool to have. So once you put your wheel back on, you know, put your wheels on there, put your nuts, axle nuts obviously back on there. And what I like to do is I like to tighten the wheel like all the way down with this nut. I like to tighten it snug, both wheels.
All the way.
All the way down. That makes sure that's making sure the bearing is seated all the way down inside the hub so it's nice and snug. Okay. And then I just back it off a little bit.
Okay.
So you have just a little bit of play.
Just a tiny bit. Okay. A little movement.
Yeah.
So it's not restricted, but it should spin freely, but not like slide around like all over the place.
Yeah.
That spins really nice. Good. But it's not like loosey.
Super loose, yeah. But it just has a little bit of play, so it's not just, you know, putting friction on the bearings. It's keeping them to spin freely.
Yeah. And you can do the same adjustments with like a little skate tool, but you like to use the ratchet just because it's faster.
A lot faster, yeah. And I'm always changing my wheels. You also want to keep an eye on these nuts here. There's little nylon washers down inside there that's part of the threads. That allows, it's a Loctite thing. It keeps it so when the nut goes down on there and it gets to those threads, those nylon threads, it's harder to, the nut doesn't spin as freely. So if you use take those nuts on and off a lot, those nylon little washers will get worn out. So keep an eye on those. If you have to replace those nuts, do so because you don't want those nuts to, spin off. Keep an eye on that stuff.
For sure.
So that's just an overview of.
What about the trucks?
Kind of keeping your skates maintained. As far as keeping these tight?
Yeah, well, some people like them looser, some people like them tighter.
That depends on your taste. Yeah. For jam skating, I like my trucks really tight. As you can see, they're pretty tight down.
Yeah.
They're down on there pretty far.
Yeah, they
Allows not minimal movement. Plus, you can get different kinds of bushings, different hardness, softness, or harder. Harder makes it turn slower. Softer obviously makes it turn a lot easier.
Yeah.
So that's just something you have to figure out as a skater. What is a preference? What do you like to do? How do you like your setup?
You kind of have to play with tightening or loosening and figuring out where you like it for whatever kind of skating you're doing.
Yes. One trick I found that I like that I found with these skates, this little pinch bolt. If you have a hard time getting this off, your toe plug or your toe stop, even if you get this all the way unloosened here, you can use a little screwdriver. Whoops, not doing too well there. Use a little flat screwdriver to get down in this crack right there. You can actually take a little hammer. I'm not going to do it because it's not that difficult, but you can tap a little hammer down inside there and spread this apart. That's after this Allen wrench is all the way loosened out of there.
Okay.
That's going to allow you to change this a lot easier.
Yeah.
Just a little hint in case you have this type of
This
plate.
is the Reactor Neo, so that's just for this particular style plate. Okay.
So
you can tighten it back in.
tighten it back up. It's nice and tight.
All right.
It's just always a good idea to go over everything and make sure everything's tight if you skate regularly.
Yeah.
So that's an overview of kind of maintaining your skates and going over your equipment, making sure everything's nice and tight. Hopefully that helps you guys. And if you have any suggestions or any other questions, please don't hesitate to put your comments down below. Like and subscribe. Appreciate it.